Hi, my name is James Dean Vogel of the Process Institute, and this is Between Two Ferals. Today's guest is Andrew Lamore of Burket USA Corporation. I've worked with Andrew for many years in both his capacity at Burket, and he is also in the ASME BPE. Currently, he is the vice chair of the ASME BPE, and we will discuss some of the things going on in the BPE. Please join me in welcoming Andrew Lamore to Between Two Ferals.
Thank you very much, Brad.
Glad to have you here at the Bioprocess Institute.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah, it's been a while since you've been here.
Wow, you've been busy.
Yes, we have.
It's almost like this market has taken off and you're learning all kinds of things.
We are. We've probably this year crossed the mark where we're doing more single-use testing than multi-use.
Makes sense.
But let's shift gears a little bit to the BPE. You're now vice chair of the ASME BPE.
Thank you, yeah.
And so congratulations
Thank you.
on that.
Thank you, sir.
You're doing a great job with Melina. We've had Melina here before and kind of looked at things. You've come up through the ranks in the PI group, in the Process Instrumentation Group, when it was almost nothing, right, to where it is now.
Yeah.
Maybe share your thoughts on how that went and where it's going, where that's going.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's my pleasure to serve along with Melina. I love what we're doing with terms of the credibility, the usefulness of the standard being the most important thing, being relevant, and then of course being credible. And so we have to do the steps to make sure that we are credible, we are reliable, it is good information, and we get it out there quickly. And I think that's important. The big thing in the instrumentation side is we talk about what use does it have. I had a big discussion with Randy Cotter, a big passionate discussion about what does PI bring to the table. And the big thing they bring to the table is the baseline requirements in the standard are for what the instrument has to do. But then you have the non-mandatory selection guides. So we have that conductivity non-mandatory selection guide, you've used it before, which gives a lot of context to like the meat of it. And so what we've done and what you see in the next edition of the standard is the next technology that's ripe is flow meter technology. So we just passed MAG, we passed turbine, or turbine, I can't remember what it's called here. I always get that mixed up. It's like process and process. You know?
It's spelled the same.
But the next step is to do a flow meter selection guide so that people get the bare requirements and then they get the why. The why is crazy important. And otherwise, why are you doing it? You know, what's the purpose? And I think that's really at the heart of what we try to do in the BPE. So we've got the non-mandatory appendices, we've got the diaphragm selection guide, the diaphragm testing that you developed. I mean, Len the lion's share of it.
Appendix K,
Yeah. And then we also have the different guides that we're developing now and the usability. So. I remember we talked on Friday. I was just at a client out west that they were talking about what is the value of the BPE, why should I send someone to the BPE? And I said, well, do you know about the changes coming to USB? And they said, no, I don't know what you're talking about. And you gave an excellent presentation, just in general, how the technology is evolving from medieval times to data-based decisions.
So, and I think, you know, we'll probably have another session on that, maybe on the bioprocess bites, but just as we're covering in the BPE, we're trying to get a ballot going right now for materials and components is what is the proper testing for biocompatibility. As Andrew said, the USP is going to be changing over the next few years. We've referenced that historically forever in the BPE. Now we're going to have to modify because some of our references, like the term class 6 plastics, is going away. So that's a major step that things are there, and back to the value that it brings to anybody who sends it, especially the end users, is they learn about this a year and a half ahead of time, not when the BPE will change, perhaps in 2026, but now, so they can get ready for that and know how to modify their specifications and to bring those things in. I know the ASME is starting to look at a little more formalized training, and you've been involved with that with Melina. Maybe you can share a little bit about what the goals of that and how that may be of value to some folks.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially as the things get out there, like certification and whatnot. A lot of misinterpretations, misunderstandings
Yeah,
get out
that
there.
happens a lot.
So this year we published the certification for seals and gaskets, and you can apply for that. And then we have also done diaphragm valves. So
It's coming.
Yeah. So the big thing is we want people to use it. So we want people to reference the standard. And so a big one of that is outreach. We want to make sure that we standardize some sort of message, some sort of presentation. So Milena and I and a bunch of others, we work very, very closely together on what is the BPE, how does it function, how can I integrate that, and how can I use it in my facility to reduce the cost of making drugs. Because that's what it's all about. Like, yes, there are some higher levels of requirements and you can get something cheaper off the street, but we've learned why. And the why, like we talked about earlier, is crazy important.
Yep.
So we've got a standardized presentation that we use for outreach. We try to reach out to Women in Pharma, the DEI initiatives as well, to get those folks to come to the BPE to learn and give their experience.
I know it's also going to be at ISPE meetings, you know, the one in Boston you're doing,
Yeah.
and then there's other ones that you'll be going to also.
100%.
So there may be in your neighborhood before you know it, giving that presentation.
Absolutely.
So it's a very exciting environment, and I do think, you know, again, to give we'll put it in the credits here, anybody who wants to volunteer, it's a great opportunity for younger staff to get involved and really make a difference both to the industry, but also to bring it back to your day job, bring it back home.
Absolutely, and you can learn from other individuals who may have already made this mistake. They might not come out right and say, we had this problem, but they might say, these are things to do and these are things to avoid, and here's some reasons why. And so the industry can learn from each other, as conservative as we are. We can learn by passing on that shared experience, that shared knowledge, so we're not reinventing the wheel over and over and over again, that the technology drives. And the most important thing is that we make better medicines and treatments so we live longer and we take care of our families and our loved ones. And that's what we do at the BPE, is we try and make that positive contribution to the world, try to learn some more, and try to develop the industry as a whole, as reluctant as they are to share information.
Well, but I do think it's still in keeping with the CGMPs. We're staying current. We want the current good manufacturing practices, and then the standard tries to support that, as you said, in the best way that we can.
Yeah. So maybe just do a parallel here. You know about this more than I do. So the phrase that brought that up was USP 87 and 88 is no longer valid. That's what I heard. And then the other thing I heard in the next breath is all Teflons are illegal now. And I just went, whoa. And I think they're talking about PFAS. Have you heard similar stuff before?
Well, I mean, so we know that the PFAS issue has come through. There's legislation in Europe, and now in the US, EPA has that. And so at a minimum, most of the PTFEs used in the industry are changing. So that change control is coming through because one of the major manufacturers has decided to step out of the market.
Right.
So it's going to impact things like your diaphragms and your diaphragm valves and others, PTFE line hoses, and then there are seals in countless places. So how we deal with that change, the BPE community is talking about, along with other groups, to try to figure out what this is. I don't think PTFE is going away. How we work with it and what we're going to need to justify it will be something that we are going to have to pay more attention to. And then, again, in the BPE community, we're talking about this at every meeting. We meet 3 times a year. It's usually in a different location. So if you can't travel, so to speak, mostly in the United States. And our next meeting will be in January in Florida, in Fort Myers, and then the one after that will be in Montreal in May.
Yeah, sir, you're coming to Montreal. I love it.
right.
Love it. We're going to have some fun.
Yep.
And we'll learn some things too.
Okay, very good. Well, I appreciate your time here. Tell us a little bit about, maybe if you can, from your experience, how is the process industry in the United States a little different than that in Canada? From
yeah,
what you've
for
seen.
sure.
What do you see a little different that we see?
You have so many bigger sandboxes down here. I think the one difference is where the money comes from. We talked about this one time. Follow the money, right? There's a lot more money on the table here in the US. And that means that more innovative technologies are developed, more treatments for cancer, more for muscular dystrophy. All these other people still get COVID for sure, but they also get regular sick, as I say. And the therapies and the treatments, especially with cell and gene and CRISPR technology and personalized medicine, is developing down here at breakneck speed. Whereas in Canada, it's more like the 80-20 rule. You kind of Eisenhower matrix, because the government runs the systems. And so a lot of it's dilution of something made in the US or something made in Israel or somewhere else, some other country. And we're just trying to get that out to take care of 80% of the people. Whereas down here, you just have such fascinating technologies, and you're adopting these new ways of thinking. And so it's much, I will say, less conservative, but in a positive way, you know what I mean?
I understand. So the innovation is able to go there, and I think it comes from the medical community as well as from the industrial community here. You see doctors, like you're in a hotbed in North Carolina, and there's some synergies that happen similar to what's going on in like Boston between the medical community and the startup biotech companies and things like that.
100%. Now on the positive side, because it's driven by the national healthcare program, medicines and whatnot are subsidized, companies will go ballistic on making things as cheaply as possible, as cost effectively, not cheaply, it refers to quality, but making it cost effective. So we're really, really, really good in Canada being creative with what we have and trying to make things as cost effective as possible to drive that cost down so the entire country can benefit. So it's a bit of a different approach, but the generics market in Canada is extremely strong. And I think that's something that they can bring to the rest of the world.
Yeah, and I think some of that is already coming here, so that's excellent. That's excellent. All right, well, thank you again. So you'll have the link to Burkert's site. Please contact them and let us know.
I really appreciate all your collaboration, and thanks for all the testing you do for us. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome. It's our pleasure.